So a couple of days ago, I've received a comment from one of the subscriber requesting that I create a video on how to make a currency converter. And so that request is granted, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you could build a currency converter web application using the Streamlit library in Python. And we're starting right now. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is open up the folder that contains the project. And so the links to this code and data will be provided in the video description. And so let's open up the text editor. And let's fire up the terminal. It's on the desktop. Streamlit folder, and it is in the currency converter app folder. And then we're going to run the application. But before doing that, I need to log into my Conda environment. And so please activate your own Conda environment, and mine is Data Professor. And then I'm going to run the command streamlit run and then app.py and then enter. Okay, and so here it is, the application that we're going to be building today. So you could convert from one of these currencies to any of the other currencies. So at default, it is selecting Australian dollar. And let's say, for example, you want to convert USD to Australian dollar. And then you can see that in real time, the conversion will take place. And if you change the currency, in a few seconds, the currency is also changed. And you can see that the date is retrieved from the 14th of April. And currently, it is 15th April here in Thailand. And let's have a look at the Thai currency, 31.2247. Okay, and you could also do the reverse. You could select any other currency of your interest, and then you see the conversion taking place in real time. And so all of this is made possible by the ratesapi.io, which provides the API from which we can retrieve the currency price in real time from the European Central Bank. And then we're using several libraries in Python, and so it's much more than these. And so I'll be updating this code when I finish editing this video. All right, and so let's have a look under the hood. So the first couple of lines will be importing the libraries that we'll be using. So actually, we're not using base64. So we're taking that out. And we're using Streamlit because this is the web framework, which makes this very web application possible. And we're using the image function in order to add this image into the web app. And then we're using pandas to display the data frame. Actually, we're not using matplotlib. And then we're using requests and JSON in order to retrieve the data from the API and in order to parse the data. Okay, and on lines number 14, you can see that we're essentially defining the image right here, the logo, which is essentially a PNG file that you can see here. And then we set the image width to be 390 pixels. You can feel free to modify this to your own number of your choice. And you see that it's a bit bigger. And if we make it 600, okay. And so you see the size updated. Change it back. And then on line number 18, it is the title, Currency Converter App, which is right here, Currency Converter App. The markdown on line number 19 until 22 is essentially the description of the application, which goes underneath right here. And then on lines number 26, we're going to be defining the sidebar header, and it is called input options, as you can see right here. And then on the sidebar, we're going to be defining the currency list that we could retrieve data from the API of the ratesapi.io. And so line number 29 will be listing all of the currency, as you can see here. Line number 30 will be creating the select box in the sidebar. It's right here, the selection box. And then you can see that we put in the description, select base currency for conversion, which is right here. And then on line number 31, you guessed it, it is for the second one right here. Select target currency to convert to, which is right here, the description here. Select target frequency, select target currency to convert to. And then both of them are sharing the same currency list, which is defined on the previous line, 29. Okay, on line number 34, we're going to be catching the data from line number 35 until 44. So 35 until 44 is a custom function to load the data in directly from the raceapi.io. And so on line number 36, we're going to be getting the URL. And so the URL will be joining the following strings of text. So the first segment of the URL, followed by the base price unit, which is one of these. Like if I want AUD here, I'll put AUD. So it'll be base equal to AUD. And then I'll add the ampersand symbols equal to the target currency that we want to convert to. So it could be any of the other currency unit that you can see here. So essentially what it will look like is the following. Let me create it here. So for example, it is AUD, and then this part, and then AUD. Okay, so if you put this into the web browser, you're going to get the data right here. You're going to get the data in JSON. Okay, if I change it to base of USD, and then I'll get this 129. And so we're going to parse all of the data in here in the JSON, and that will be provided right inside the data frame that you see right here. Okay. And so after we have defined the URL, we're going to be using it as an input argument to the get function. And so the request.get, it will essentially retrieve contents from the URL. And then the content is in the form of JSON. And so it's going to be assigned to the data variable. And then we're going to create the following. Firstly, we're going to create a pandas data series, which will essentially be extracting the base currency, which is this one, or this one, okay? And then after that, we're going to be creating a data frame, which will essentially take in the converted currency and the price, which is right here. The converted currency is here, AUD, and then the price is right here. And then finally, we're going to create another pandas data series, which will be the date. And so the date is right here. And then finally, we're going to be combining it using pd.concat, the base currency, the converted currency, the price, and also the date. And then we're using an axis of 1 so that it will be combined side by side. And finally, we'll be returning the data frame upon using the load data function. And then on line number 47, we utilize the load data function and assign the data that we have retrieved from the API directly into the df variable. And then on line number 49, we're going to be creating a header called currency conversion, which is right here, currency conversion. Line number 51, we're going to simply print out the contents of the data frame, which we see right here. And on lines number 58 and 59 until 63, we're going to be creating an about box that describes the libraries that we're using in this particular application, and also the data source, and also the credit of the application. And so if you're modifying this application, I would greatly appreciate that you keep this credit in here, and feel free to also add information that this application is modified by your name. And then you could also feel free to add additional features into this particular application. Now let's go back to line number 53 right here. Let's say that I comment out 51 and then I uncomment out 53. Let's have a look. Okay, so it is essentially transposing the data. So now I have it in the vertical form. Okay, so I'll leave this up to you, whichever form that you prefer. And so if you're finding value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and also make sure to hit on the notification bell so that you will be notified of the next video. And as always, the best way to learn data science is to do data science, and please enjoy the journey.